Hi guys, and welcome to day 10 um, video lesson. And this is going to be on evaluating expressions. All right, so let's get my computer screen flipped over here the way I want it. And we're going to hide this so we can use it. All right, so evaluating expressions. We have an example of a substitution property. So if A equals B, then A may be replaced for B in any expression. Okay, so to evaluate AB squared plus C, then A is 2 A is 2 and B is 4 and C is 7. Okay, it will look something like this. 2 times 4 squared plus 7. Okay, so we know that 2 times 4 squared is 16 plus 7. 2 times 16 is 32. 32 plus 7 is equal to 39. So 39 would be our answer there, okay? All right, so the most important rule in algebra, okay? The most important rule is to put parentheses. Whoops, I already spelled it wrong. I was thinking about paragraphs. Parentheses, which are the little things that look like that, around negative numbers. Okay? So, why are we saying that? All right? So, here's why we're saying that. Let's look at this next expression. It is my guinea pig screaming in the background. So, the next expression is evaluate 3 times x squared minus 4x when x is equal to 2. So we're going to, or negative 2. So we're going to replace negative 2 with all the x's. So it will say 3 negative 2 squared minus 4 negative 2 squared. Okay? And do you see why we're putting the parentheses in there? So it looks like we're actually multiplying those and not subtracting those. Okay, so we always start with our exponents because there are no numbers within a parenthesis. So 3 times, so the square root of negative 2 is 4, and then we're going to subtract, we can go ahead and do this math. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8, which makes this a positive. So we're adding there. So 3 times 4 is 12 plus 8 equals 20. Do you see why it was so important to put these parentheses around here? Because if not, it would look like we're literally saying, how do you like my purple glitters? It literally would look like we were saying 4 minus 2 instead of 4 multiplied by negative 2. Okay, so let's scroll down the page a little bit. And we're going to do these last 4 together before we go on to some guided practice. Okay, so it says we are going to use A is going to be 3 and B is going to be 4 in this problem. Okay, negative 4. So whoops, screwed up already. So 3 squared times negative 4 minus negative 4 squared. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our exponents. Let's get those out of the way. So this is 9 times negative 4, and this is 16. Okay, so 9 times negative 4 is negative 36, minus 16 is going to equal negative 52. So our answer here is going to be negative 52. Again, did you see why we put those parentheses around those negatives? If not, it would look like we're subtracting. Okay, so over here, we are going to say A is 4 and B is negative 7. All right, so it looks like we've got 4 squared times negative 7 minus negative 7 squared. All right, so let's go ahead and do our exponents. 16 negative 7 minus 49. Because anytime you square something, this square right here, sorry, negative 7, that square is supposed to be on the outside. That's okay. Anytime you square a number, it becomes a positive, okay? So that did not make those into a positive number, that subtraction stays the same. So 16 times 7, negative 7 is negative 112, and we're going to subtract that by 49. And for those of you who can do some really great math in your head, 100 negative 161. Okay? Again, we're using those parentheses so we can see when something is subtraction versus a negative. Okay? All right, our next problem, it states that x is going to be negative 4 and y is going to be 2. All right, so negative 2, and we're going to put our 2 in parentheses, squared minus 3 times negative 4 times 2. And even though 2 is not a negative, we're still going to put it in parentheses. That way you can see that it is being multiplied by the other number. Okay? So let's go ahead and do our exponents. Negative 4 here, and it's negative 4 because the negative was out front of it. So 2 times 2 squared is 4, but it told us at the beginning it was going to be negative. So let's go ahead and do some quick math here. So negative 3 times negative 4 is going to be positive 12. And then we're going to add 2. So we have got no, we're going to multiply, by 2. We're going to multiply by 2. So we've got one more step to do. So negative 4 plus 24 is equal to 20 because we're taking 4 away from it. Okay? Sorry, I had a little mistake there. I was like, oh, I'm missing something. But that's because we put this in parentheses so we would remember that we multiplied afterwards. Okay? All right, so let's look at 4. We are going to have x is negative 5, and we are going to have y is negative 3 in this particular problem. Okay, so we are going to start out with negative. Remember how we did that over here? Well, let me see if I can't get any higher. I'm running out of screen room here. We're going to start with negative 3 squared minus 3 times negative 5 times -3. Okay, so this is very similar to the first one, only it threw us a negative. Okay, so it doesn't matter what we do with -3 squared, it's always going to be a positive. Okay, but we have this negative out front here. Okay, we have this negative out front here, so we have to make it a negative. All right, so then we're going to go ahead and multiply -3 by -3, excuse me, by -3 by -5, which makes +15. And then we're going to multiply +15 by -3. So we still have -9 plus, well, let's see where we go with that. So let's leave that blank. -9 and 15 times -3, since 3 is a negative, it's going to make this a negative number. And if you don't know what it is, 15 times 3 is 45. And then we're going to subtract that all together, I guess. We're really adding a negative number. So -9 minus 45 is negative 54. Okay, so it's just a matter of making sure you're using those parentheses and you're putting them in the right spots, and that you are using those parentheses again in the back of these numbers. So it's telling you, hey, wait a minute, after you figure out the first set, you got to look at the second set. Okay, and then making sure that you're getting your numbers correctly, as far as whether it's a positive or a negative. Okay, let's go back into here, and I will see you in a few minutes when we do some guided practice.